Have you ever looked at your dog while they're sleeping peacefully at your feet and just wondered what's actually going on inside their head? You know your dog loves you. You feel it the second you walk through the door after a long day at work, and you feel it when they rest their head on your lap without being asked. But here's the thing. They are constantly trying to tell you this through a deep, quiet language that most people walk right past every single day without ever noticing. We're wired for words. We rely on spoken phrases, big gestures, and obvious signals to show how we feel and to figure out how others feel about us. So naturally, we look for the same obvious stuff from our dogs: a tail going a mile a minute, excited jumping, barking, or getting absolutely covered in slobber. Those are certainly signs of excitement. But in the dog world, the deepest and most profound declarations of love are completely silent. A lot of them look like weird habits or quirky little behaviors, or honestly, even annoying ones you've probably tried to stop. Dogs have been communicating this way since the very first time one of them curled up beside an early human around a fire tens of thousands of years ago. Today we're going to break down 8 of those hidden signals. We're going to get into the science, the evolutionary biology, and the raw emotion behind what your dog is actually trying to say. And I want you to stay with me until number 8, because if your dog suddenly stops doing this one specific thing, it is a serious emergency warning that most owners completely miss until it is far too late. Let's get into it. Let's start with sign number 1, the long, soft stare. Most people assume their dog is staring because they want something. We project our human understanding of that kind of look onto them. We think they're eyeing your dinner, waiting impatiently for a walk, or just sitting there a little confused about what you're doing. But next time your dog is staring at you, I want you to actually look back at their eyes. Not just glance, really look. Are their eyes hard and fixed, or are they soft, relaxed, and maybe even blinking slowly? If their eyes are soft, your dog isn't asking for a single thing. They are literally hugging you with their eyes. To understand how significant that really is, you have to look at where dogs came from. Wolves in the wild treat prolonged eye contact as a direct threat. It's a challenge, it's confrontational, it's aggressive. But domestic dogs evolved alongside human beings, and over thousands of years, they completely rewired how they use eye contact. They learned to repurpose it as something purely affectionate. When your dog holds your gaze, something remarkable happens inside both of your bodies. Both of your brains release a surge of oxytocin, what scientists call the love hormone, and it is the exact same chemical that floods a mother's brain when she first looks into the eyes of her newborn baby. Your dog is triggering a biological reaction of pure happiness and bonding inside their own brain simply by looking at your face. They are telling you, in the only way they know how, that you are their entire world. Sign number 2, the full body lean. You're standing in the kitchen cooking or chatting with a neighbor outside, and your dog wanders over and just dumps their entire body weight against your legs. A lot of owners don't think much of this one. They figure the dog is tired from a long walk, too lazy to stand up straight, or maybe just trying to scratch a hard-to-reach spot on their side. But what's actually happening is far more meaningful than that. In the canine world, leaning is a real act of physical vulnerability. When a dog leans fully into you, they are taking themselves off balance. They are exposing their flank and trusting completely that you are not going to let them fall. Dogs only put their physical balance in someone else's hands when they trust that person with everything they've got. By pressing their weight into your legs, they're reaching for security and at the same time offering you something: total, unmistakable trust. It is the dog version of a psychological trust fall. They are silently communicating, "You are my safe place in a world that doesn't always make sense, and I trust you completely to hold me up." Next time your dog leans against you, don't step away from it. Lean back slightly. Let them feel that you caught them. Number 3 might genuinely be the most misunderstood behavior on this entire list: stealing your dirty laundry. We've all lived this one. You walk into your room and find your dog completely passed out on top of your gym shirt, your worn socks, or some sweaty piece of clothing you threw on the floor an hour ago. It's incredibly easy to get annoyed by this. We see it as them getting into things they shouldn't, being naughty, being bad. But please, do not get on your dog's case for this one. To really understand what's going on here, you have to understand how your dog actually experiences the world. While we navigate life primarily through what we see, Dogs navigate it almost entirely through what they smell. A dog's sense of smell is estimated to be up to 100,000 times more sensitive than ours. They have hundreds of millions of olfactory receptors packed into their noses. To your dog, your unique scent is not just an odor. It is a physical, tangible blanket of comfort and safety. So when you leave the house in the morning to go to work or run errands, their world instantly becomes a little darker and a little more unsettling. They miss you, and they miss you in a way that is deep and real. Seeking out the items that carry the highest concentration of your scent, worn clothes, used shoes, your side of the bed, is how they keep you close when you physically can't be there. It is a self-soothing mechanism. By surrounding themselves with your smell, they are telling themselves that you are coming back. They are holding onto pieces of you until you walk through that door again. Sign number 4 takes us into genuinely fascinating territory: the contagious yawn. You already know that yawns are contagious between people. If you see someone yawn or hear someone yawn or let's be honest, if you even just read the word yawn, there is a solid chance you're doing it right now. In humans, that contagion is deeply tied to empathy and our ability to subconsciously tune into the emotional and physical state of the people around us. But here is something most people don't know. Dogs are one of the only other species on the entire planet that can catch a yawn from a human being. And the research gets even more specific than that. Studies have shown that dogs don't catch yawns randomly or from just anyone. They are significantly more likely to catch a yawn from their own owner than from a complete stranger. When your dog yawns right after you do, it is not because they're suddenly sleepy. And it's definitely not because they're bored with your company. It is a biological sign of deep empathy and emotional mirroring. Your dog is so completely tuned into your physical and emotional state that their own body starts mimicking yours without them even intending it to. They are matching your frequency. It is a neurological display of closeness that says, I am right here with you, and I feel exactly what you feel. Sign number 5 pushes back on one of the oldest cynical takes about dogs: the post-meal cuddle. You've probably heard someone say at some point that dogs only love the hand that feeds them, that their affection is basically transactional, that they're just well-fed scavengers who've learned that being cute gets them kibble. But if you actually want to know what's in your dog's heart, here's what you watch. Pay attention to exactly what your dog does the moment their food bowl is empty. When a dog is hungry, that survival drive is the loudest voice in their head. It shapes everything they do. But the moment they've eaten and their stomach is full, that drive temporarily goes quiet. What they choose to do in those next few minutes, when they need absolutely nothing from you, is the truth. If your dog finishes their dinner, licks their bowl clean, and immediately trots over to find you, to snuggle into your side on the couch or rest their head on your lap, they are making a statement. Their belly is full. Their survival needs are met. They owe you nothing right now, and they still chose you. That is the definition of love that has nothing to do with what you can give them. Number 6 is something most people have never even thought to look for: the left eyebrow lift. You might look at your dog and assume their face doesn't give much away, that they mostly look happy, sleepy, or vaguely interested in whatever you're eating. But you have to look closer than that. Researchers in Japan used high-speed, high-definition cameras to track the micro-expressions on dogs' faces during interactions with different people, and what they found was genuinely surprising. When dogs were introduced to a complete stranger, their facial movements were somewhat scattered and inconsistent. But when their actual owner walked into the room, dogs reliably and repeatedly lifted their left eyebrow, just a fraction of an inch, just for a split second. The reason that specific side matters comes down to how the mammalian brain is wired. The left side of the face is controlled by the right hemisphere of the brain, and the right hemisphere is the side that handles deep emotional bonds, love, and joy. Because your dog can't smile at you with their mouth the way a person would, that tiny involuntary lift of the left eyebrow is them smiling at you with their brain. The next time you walk into a room where your dog is, stop for just a second before you say anything or reach for them. Watch their face. The love will show up there before the tail even starts moving. Sign number 7 is one that gets misread almost every single time: bringing you their most beaten up toy. If your dog picks up their absolute favorite stuffed animal, the one that's been gutted, has no more stuffing, is hanging on by 2 stitches, and carefully carries it over to drop in your lap, most people assume they want to play. They think the dog is asking for a game of tug or fetch, but that is not always what's happening. In pack animals, resources worth having are worth fighting over. A wild animal will defend its most prized possession with everything it has because in the wild, those things mean survival. When your dog picks up the thing they love most, brings it to you, and then steps back and lets you take it, that is something else entirely. They are choosing to share their most valuable thing with you. They are placing their greatest treasure at your feet and saying without a word, "I consider you my most trusted companion. I love this wrecked, disgusting toy, but I love you more, and I want you to have it." It is an offering. It is generosity in the purest form a dog can express it. Number 8. This is the one I warned you about at the very start. What does it mean when all of that affection suddenly disappears? If your dog, your Velcro dog, the one who always leans on you in the kitchen, always searches out your eyes from across the room, always drifts off to sleep right at your feet, suddenly starts sleeping in a different room, hiding under the bed, or flinching away when you reach out to touch them, please do not let yourself rationalize it away. It is so common for owners to tell themselves the dog is just getting older, becoming more independent, or going through some kind of moody phase and wanting to be left alone for a while. But you have to remember something important about dogs. They are masters at hiding pain. That is not an accident. It is deeply embedded in their biology. In the wild, showing weakness, illness, or injury marks an animal as easy prey. It is a signal to predators. Even though your dog has never spent a single day in the wild, those survival instincts are still woven into their DNA, and they do not just switch off because they live somewhere safe and warm. So when a dog who has always stayed glued to your side starts going quiet and pulling away, it is almost never a personality shift or a mood. It is almost always a sign of something physical, hidden pain, an illness developing under the surface, or severe psychological distress that they have no other way to communicate to you. They are not pulling away because their feelings for you have changed. Their ancient instincts are doing the only thing they know how to do when something is wrong. Retreat, go quiet, don't show the pack that you're vulnerable. When your best friend goes silent like that, it falls on you to be their voice. It falls on you to recognize that the absence of their silent, "I love you," is itself the message. It is a cry for help wrapped inside a disappearing act. When this happens, do not wait and see how it goes. Get them to a veterinarian. Dogs truly speak a language that runs older and deeper than anything human words can touch. It lives in shared sense, in mirrored yawns, in the weight of a tired dog leaning against your legs on an ordinary Tuesday afternoon. It is there every single day. You just have to know how to listen with your eyes and your heart instead of your ears. Take a minute today to really watch your dog. Notice how they move around your home, how they position themselves near you when things are quiet, what they do when no one is asking anything of them. Which of these 8 signs does your dog show the most? Tell me in the comments. I genuinely love hearing the stories of people's dogs, and I read more of them than you think. And if you want to keep understanding your dog at this level, make sure you hit subscribe. Give your dog a long, slow pet for me today. Pay attention to the quiet things they're saying, and I will see you in the next one.